Okay, hello. I wanted to make a quick little video on how to get the PFsense FreeBSD version of Unix working on the HP t610 Plus small little computer where you can buy $50 to $80, so to speak, for port Ethernet adapter and turn into a router. Now, this is something that you probably do not need to do. This is really cool, though, to do if you kind of like to tinker and play with hardware and make up your own router. You would have much, much more amazing customability instead of a router. I have the Nighthawk 450, the Nighthawk Pro Gaming XR 450 I bought for $150 or $200 at Costco a while back. It is not a bad router, but I've had and heard some complaints about it from friends and other people that I've recommended to buy it. Um, with this router, you can do whatever you want with it, much more flexibility with it. I wanted to get it because a friend of mine recommended it, and I got it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not working. I'm getting this error ACPI0 hpqoem slic-bpc on motherboard. And I will show you what you need to do to get that working. This is just my experience. So if I go into the computer setup, it's already fixed for the setting. So if I go to boot order and EFI is enabled, then you're going to have that exact same error. So we're going to do that really quick, and we'll get to see the error, and then I'll get to change the setting. You don't need to update the BIOS. It would go to like 1.17 or something ridiculous. Yes, it's got 16 gigs of RAM. I put in a 256 Samsung 850 Pro, and it's a little crazy overkill, but this is what I wanted. So the main problem is that when you download this from the PFsense website and you get it, it seems like it's UEFI, but it's not. So that's basically what I have read is that, oh yeah, it's UEFI. Maybe the newer one would work. Anyway, here's the error. Same exact error message. It locks up. To get out of it, of course, you have to hard power it off or pull the power cord out, turn it back on, and mess around with some stuff. I was really messing around with this thing a lot. I have one running right now. I wanted to get another one from the same eBay seller. I'm sure you've seen him. Oh my gosh, he sold truckloads, Olympic-sized swimming pools full of these things. These things are pretty cool, and it's fun to mess with this stuff. So again, I'm going to go back into computer setup, go on to storage, and then F5, F10 to save. There's no other settings really. The only thing that I ran into is, let's see, it's USB. I believe it's in here somewhere. No, power, security, USB security. Yeah, a bunch of these were disabled on this machine. And of course, maybe the easiest thing is just to go in and just apply defaults and exit. But of course, that might turn off some USB ports and turn some default ones on, like maybe two in the front, and then maybe some in the back are off or on or whatever. It doesn't matter. That was my experience. So save and exit changes. So EFI is going to be disabled, and legacy is what we want. And we'll go to the boot menu, and I'll notice that EFI is disabled. I've read on the forum that I found that you disable it and it enables itself after a reboot, which is kind of strange, kind of sus, kind of weird. So I'll go here to the SanDisk Cruiser. It's plugged into the front. I don't think it really matters what USB port it is. It kind of seemed at first, but that was because on my computer that I got from eBay, that had some of the front USB ports disabled. Probably because it was at a doctor's office or something like that where they didn't want people plugging in stuff and trying to get data or steal somebody's identity. Who knows, right? So I'll do SanDisk Cruiser, and already this is different. I saw this, I was like, that's different. So I think this is probably one of the latest loads of PFsense. I just downloaded one, 2.45 release. I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. It'll update, which is pretty awesome. It'll update itself. And so already, we're much further. It's detecting the USB ports. It's detecting the keyboard. It's detecting the SanDisk little thumb drive that I'm using. And we're already there. This is already different. I was really happy when I got this far because I thought I had to update the BIOS. I thought I had a bad computer. I thought, oh my God, I'm cursed. So accept, install. Yes, I do this. Auto ZFF. I do not know what that means. I'm not a Linux guy, but this is kind of fun to do. Yes, I do have a crazy hard drive in here. Yes. And so this will install pretty quick. 16 gigs of RAM, Samsung 256, even a 128 gig SSD would be fine. It comes with a 16 gig, and that's all you need, but I wanted to have storage, and I know that the speed on the SSD drive is going to be fast. That's kind of what I wanted. I know that the other part that you have to do is you have to turn off DHCP on your router because this is going to be DHCP. You have to do a lot more manual configurations. There's a really good video on YouTube on how to do it, on how to do like firewall changes. Like if you set this up out of the box, it's going to be in strict when you go and play games, like say specifically Black Ops Cold War, Modern Warfare. Everything is strict. Anything that's hooked up to it will be strict, and so you have to do something in your firewall on the settings in the website. You don't do anything in the CLI, in the command line interface. You do that on the website that it creates. So it's just like a router. It's really cool. The speed is about the same for the processor on the Nighthawk, but 8 gigs RAM, the SSD, this is what I wanted. This is more of tinkering and doing, this is something for fun type of thing. So anyway, this is done. It already installed. This is now finished. Do I want to do modifications? No. Reboot. And then I'll let it reboot and I'll boot up so you guys can see it. And then I'm going to pull the thumb drive out. Once the signal goes away, do it right. I wanted to update the BIOS, but it really is not necessary. I'll probably do that later on, but right now it's just not needed. And you know what I didn't do? What I don't think you need to, but I thought you had to disable the controller for the record, but it's using, it's just using it's using a different plugin, I think, for that 16 gig, where I could be wrong. But anyway, we'll let it boot all the way up here. And this is exactly what it looks like. You're supposed to have everything hooked up. You want to have your cable modem plugged into the built-in Ethernet port, and then you want to have your router plugged in. I think if you're looking at the back and it's not upside down, the left is 0, I believe. The left port is 0. And so that's just the most tricky part, but any Unix or FreeBSD person who has a ton more experience than I do would not have that problem. But that's kind of what I had to do. It'll pick up the cable modem, but then you'll have to force configure the other parts. See, I have that 192.168.1.1. That is my other PFsense box. So you have that plugged in. You want to have that plugged in already. Then you'll manually configure, like, okay, how many devices do you want? And so for me, I had like 250, and I was like, okay, that's ridiculous. I don't have that many computers, so I just put it to like 50. But then I went into the website interface, and it's a hell of a lot easier than doing it in here. But there's a lot of guides on how to do this. But anyway, this is what I wanted to make real quick, and the release is still the same thing. It's right there, 2.45. Let's see, show in folder. Yeah, 2.45. So it's still the same, the most recent version anyway. There's probably a little bit of security updates or patches or whatnot. But, the speed really is the same. But if you have a whole lot of people on, like let's just say you got, a family, you got somebody on Netflix, you got kids on Xbox, PS5s, whatever, then you want to play games, this is really made to handle all that speed much better than a router, more efficiently. Maybe not, but still, It's a lot of fun to configure this. This is pretty cool. You learn a lot. And you can put it on your resume, you know? Okay, well, I hope this helps out. Thank you.